Welcome to Beers with Contractors.
All right, tradies. Another episode of Beers with Contractors. Terry, cheers to you, sir.
As well.
Hey, listen, we were talking before the show that we've been struggling finding some beer sponsors for the show.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, like, you know, that saying, like, in this economy, like, are these beer companies, sorry, Anheuser-Busch, whoever you are out there, gobbling up little craft brews everywhere. Surely you can squeeze out a little bit for me and Terry to be able to keep killing brain cells, as we mentioned that one episode.
Yes.
But just me and you in the studio, and it's kind of awkward. Like, we started out really close, and now we're far away, and now we're really close again. So
Yeah,
we finally got the noise stuff under control.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it when we were really far away. Like,
Like I was in another room.
Yeah, distance does make the heart grow fonder. Well,
You had to go complete 16-foot by 16-foot studio all to yourself. Well, cool. Well, hey, listen, I want to talk about, first off, for those that don't know, Terry and I met years ago for the Construct My Future camp for kids, and then, hit it off. And at the time, you were construction science at OSU. What was your title there?
department head.
Okay. And now you're head department bitch at OU. What's the title?
Associate professor or assistant professor. One of the professors.
Yeah, one of the professors.
Took a step back, but now down at the University of Oklahoma and loving their program and love working with the kids.
Yeah. Well, I got on this conversation this last week. And obviously this last episode, because scheduling with your new job and all that. And I was able to hold it down by myself.
Muddle your way through it.
But I had a few conversations this last week. And I'm going to describe what I'm feeling as what my observation is.
Okay.
This isn't a therapy session, bro.
You're talking about feelings already.
Obviously, we hear people say nobody wants to work in construction. And I have my own disposition about that. It's like, of course, yeah, you're not looking. But then also, like, some of the individuals I've spoken to, I don't even think that they're equipped to take on high talent. And I've met some of your students, and I'm like blown away. Because when I was 21, 22 years old, I was not that good at school. But how many kids have you pushed through your time at OSU? And now what are you predicting to push at OU?
Each semester I'm seeing 75 to 150 kids, like, in the different classes. And I'll agree with you that I hear it a lot from people saying, well, this new generation, they're lazy, they don't want to work. Being around these kids and being around our generation, the fact of the matter is what I see is they just work it, right? And so me and you, we both came from a place, and some of these kids still come from that place, growing up, working in the industry, working with our fathers. And that was like, if you want to think about a HR nightmare, right? Like, when you screwed up, it wasn't this, hey, you didn't do that right. Let's talk about how you could do it better. No, it was like, you were getting read the riot act, right?
What was your favorite insult from your dad growing up and working together in construction?
My favorite. So, I love you, Father.
I was going to say, I've got that same thing coming up.
My favorite, in to this day. My father was a cabinet maker, dealt with laminates, a lot of plastics, and I remember it vividly. He had this board that had all these little sample colors, right, for all the different laminate colors. And he told me to go get a color, right? So I go over there, grab it off the board, come back. No. I said, go get this color. I go over and grab it. He's like, boy, I said, go over and get. I don't know how many times I did that. I could not do it right. Lo and behold, I'm colorblind, right?
I don't think I ever knew that.
No, but it's like, it's one of those things. Like, we didn't know that at the time, right? But it makes sense. But it's,
now hold on. How many 4-letter words were you?
Oh, I can't even, I don't remember at that point, but that's the thing about it is, like, you have kids, I have kids, right? And we try and think about how we could do better. And then what do? We fall back on the tried true methods that didn't work for us in the past, right?
Yep. So, well, it was funny. And I want to paint a picture. I was 12 years old. I was hanging doors in a house, new construction. All right. So let's just think about that. 12 years old, hanging doors. Yeah. Pretty cool, right? Like 12 years old, unsupervised hanging doors. I hung 3 doors backwards. My dad said to me, he goes, boy, you have dumbass disease. And what do you say to that? I'm like, 12. I'm fucking 12, bro. He made me cut every single one of those doors out, spin them around, bound them. And by the way, they were square, man. I knew how to set reveal on doors. Like I could do that at 12.
Right from left.
Oh God, dude. It was just so funny. I wish I could think of just all the shit my dad would say. And he would always say this on a job site. We'd be like, man, it'd be really better if we had like this tool. And he'd be like, it's like wishing and shitting. And we're like, okay, yeah, Dad, like there's more to that. He would take typically two parables and join them together and like not finish it. And then he'd just storm off. But now I look at him and it's like, no wonder he's like got heart problems. We fucking stressed that guy out growing up.
No, but
Sorry, back to the subject at hand.
back to the real subject.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the kids nowadays and looking at what industry says or folks say, they're not lazy. They go about tasks and they go about things very differently than we would because there's a very different generational gap. They've grown up with technology. They've grown up in a era where responsibility is something that their parents did not push on them. We made them feel, or the generation made them feel that if they had that responsibility, they needed to be responsible. It's the same thing. Kids don't want to drive anymore, right?
Mhm.
It's because we've associated driving or a driver's license with responsibility and you could kill someone and all these horrible things.
Mhm.
Where in our generation, it was like, yeah, give me the keys. I want to get out of here. I want
Yeah.
my freedom, right? So we've changed how kids or young people see things. And we just have to understand how to communicate and how to challenge them. I mean, my expectation is these kids are way smarter than we ever were coming out.
Probably better behaved.
They know how to communicate through technology at times. They know how to find information out, but it's those little things that we take for granted. Like, why don't you communicate with me? Why don't you look me in the eye?
Mhm.
Because they weren't taught that.
Yeah.
And so as soon as you get that across, that this is important, this is how you need to do it, they're going to do it and they're going to do it better than most of us.
Yeah, but the companies, I think you would agree with this, that are championing recruiting in the workforce, they've got a mindset,
Yeah.
right? Around we're going to play the strengths of the individual, right? And what are the top, because I know you have students at place before they even graduate in jobs. Like
Oh, yeah.
you and Ben have got kids like by sophomore year, they're already like interning and committed to a construction company. But like, what's the major mindset difference of those companies that are getting these employees early versus the ones that are like, nobody wants to work?
I think like, so we had our career fair last week. And I think it's a perfect example. The kids coming through. So in the program, you're freshman, you go your freshman, your sophomore year, and then you get admitted going into your junior year or senior year, right? Some students are getting internships as a freshman. So they do an internship freshman summer, sophomore summer, junior summer. So they're doing 3 internships. The ones that are high quality, and it's pretty easy to tell them straight off the bat, they're getting picked up by organizations. Their organizations are offering them part-time jobs while they're at school over the fall, over the spring, doing 20 hours a week, just doing paperwork, staying committed to that organization.
Yeah, getting integrated with it, right?
And so it's a benefit for the kids because they're exposed to terminology, real work, real projects while they're in school. They're getting paid a little bit. But you think about these organizations, they've locked down like that top talent during their sophomore or their junior year. They've locked them down. They've shown interest. And I think that's one thing that I've seen out of both kids from the OSU OKC program and now the OU program is if a company is willing to be loyal to these kids, and it's certain kids, these kids will be loyal directly back with them. And it's some of our guests that we've had.
Yeah.
You know, kids that have stayed their first full-time, full adult job out of college. They're with the company for 5-7 years.
Yeah.
You know,
That's insane.
right.
Now, but that's what's interesting because I think there's probably people that are listening to that was like, well, yeah, these are engineering students and things like that. But hell, what was that young man we had on our show that went to work for AC Owens?
Oh,
He didn't remember his
Yeah, I
own
know.
student's name. No, but he was sharp, man. And he didn't go to work at some $200 billion a year commercial construction company going all over the country, like literally in our backyard. And hell, what was he making? 68,000 off the gate, and he was getting promoted.
Yes, the average starting salary for students coming out of OU's programs right in $74,000.
Yeah. Well, I'll admit, like, I never looked at Adam Slattery, the masonry guys, like they get their people from trade schools. They don't have to go to universities, but they have developed that relationship with Zach Easley and others where it's like, hey, let's develop the relationship now. And we're talking about brick masonry. It's not like they're looking for engineers.
What Al understands and what a lot of these organizations come to understand, and what's important with these young people is you have an organization or you have an individual that is showing interest. They're showing that they care about these young people and their outcomes. And that means something to these people. That means something to these kids. And I think, it's not the same as going up. And I tell all my students this when they get job offers: look at the culture, look at who you're talking with. It's not just about the money, right? And a lot of them, they want to feel like they belong. And so that culture is, as much as I think some people might hem-haw creating that culture in an organization, I mean, Vesta has a great culture, right?
I don't know. I don't work there. I'm just kidding.
Well,
what's Vesta?
They have a great culture now that Will's gone. But I mean, it's that thing, right? You sell that culture.
Right? I'm still there. Anyway. Yeah. It's funny. I talk to people about this. Like, you have a culture at your company, whether you want to have a culture or not, just to be clear. I've got this friend that works at a company out east, and when like their sales team gets a job over a competitor, you know what they call it? A confirmed kill. And so you imagine, like, when you walk into this place, it's like they're very militant. Like, they're a hard-edged, like, company. That's their culture, bro. And that's not mine. Like, I would hate to work in a place like that. But people that want to work in a place like that,
love it.
Fucking love it. But that's where it comes back to that, though. Like, you're talking about these kids, they want to learn. But where are these contractors not prepared to even take on these students if this is an avenue they want to explore?
So, I mean, we get this a lot, especially with some of the smaller construction companies, and they'll take on what we call an intern over the summer, and they don't have a formalized internship program, right? Now, you talk about your
essentially they're taking on somebody like part-time.
Right.
And just like, get to know us and you're going to work. But
right. But you're not going to, I mean, granted, you hire someone for an internship, and I tell the students, you're going to learn more during that 6-week internship over that summer than you're going to learn in the classroom, right? And the expectation is you don't know, there's no expectation that you know it. There is an expectation that you'll learn pretty fast. And that's what I tell the companies, right? Like, you have a young person that you're taking a chance on. You're not going to be able to sit them down in the chair, and you can't do that with any new employee. Sit them down in that chair and let them just start cranking out work exactly you want to do it. But it's a test drive. I mean, how many times have you hired someone, you've hated them, you knew it was a bad fit, but you hired them, and now you have to go through how do you not have them there anymore?
Yeah, well, let me back up, because you said something and I'm like, oh, I don't even have that. Let's talk about a formalized internship program.
Okay.
What the hell is that? What does that look like? Because I'm sitting here immediately, you're talking about this and it's killing me. I just want to I want to ask questions. I'm like, shit, I need to have a link on my website.
Do a formalized internship.
Yeah, so I can capture candidates that I can push that backlink to universities, trade schools, whoever. And then it's just another recruiting product to me.
Well, so a formalized internship program can look different for a lot of people, right? Typically, what we've seen is that an internship program will have students rotate in through different portions of the organization so that they can get a feel for it. So obviously in construction, you have them doing time with the project manager, doing time with the superintendent. Maybe they go into pre-construction, estimating. Maybe they go into different aspects of that job. And so it's not 6 weeks that you're sitting in a job trailer just doing submittals or doing inventory or doing something like that, right? So you're taking that young person in and you're showing them your organization, but you're also showing them different sides of the industry so that they can have a better understanding of like, hey, I really did enjoy the field, right? This maybe foreman, superintendent, maybe that path is what's going to be right for me. Usually larger organizations will have multiple interns with them. They'll usually have them come back in towards the end of their internship. They'll do a presentation. So they're working on communication, soft skills, present what they did, what they learned, what was great, what was bad, and then work with the other interns as they do that. And that's a good thing for the organization as a whole, because now you can see, all right, this is how they're viewing what we've done with them. This is what has worked. And this is where like we're dropping the ball.
Yeah. Well, I'm picturing I'm going to tell you guys a story. All 6 of you out there. Terry was managing a tool room at his facility at OSU. And of course, a well-known power tool company was coming to try to get their products fitted into the tool room. And they sent this absolute bombshell of a gal.
As all tool salespeople are.
Well, hold on. Like John Abrams, he was on the show from Hilti.
Oh, I thought that's who you were talking
John
about.
Abrams is in a bombshell, but I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, all right. So they're trying to win you over somehow. Though, do you get courted by companies like that on the employment side? Like, hey, Terry, like I need 10 kids. How can I sweeten this pot here?
We will see that from headhunters.
Oh,
so there is, and that's the thing is like,
but are those headhunters the ones working for the big outfits looking for like?
No, they're these independent folks. So, and this has happened a number of times. I'll have former students who have been out in industry and they will get approached by folks working for these third-party resource headhunting organizations trying to get them to move.
Mm-hmm.
And what a lot of times some of the students, some of the folks don't know is there's an incentive every time they land a good hire with someone.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They get a cut.
Yeah. And that's, it's not small. It's significant, right?
I mean, that's their service.
That's their service. I think that what we do see and what I think works better is if you're going to a career fair, if you're going to try and hire some of these young people, and that's how you're doing it, right? You have a booth, you're setting up and you're trying to sell your organization. You want to have someone behind that table that looks like the people that you're trying to hire.
Yeah.
They need to be able to see themselves. And so at OU, they send graduates to the program and they look like the demographic that we currently have. I mean, the fact of the matter is that these young people are going to feel more comfortable approaching folks that look like them, come from the same communities as they did, than they are coming to talk with me, because that age difference is going to be less with that new hire that you've had 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of the matter is, and if you have kids, you know this, the young person can say the exact same thing that you can say, and it is going to sound so much more credible coming from that young person than it does from you.
Well, and have you seen a conversion? And I just think of KPIs and things like that. Have you seen a conversion rate between these internships to full-time employment? Like, is there a metric? Do you guys track that? Is it just kind of through the grapevine?
I haven't seen the statistics on it. That would be interesting to look at. I do know that you'll have, I mean, it is a perfect time. And if you're looking at how to pick up young talent, get them on board, but make sure they're a good fit, internships are the best way to do it, because I know, and I have seen companies who have picked up young people, had them for an internship, returned them, and not called them back because it just wasn't a good fit with the organization. Kids were good, they just are not the right fit. And I don't know another mechanism that you can have them and you can test drive to see if it's fit with your organization for 6 weeks. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Are you seeing contractors that are coming to your programs thinking that, oh, I'm going to have to pay a premium for your types of students?
I don't know. I know that obviously,
I have my thoughts about it.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, obviously, if it would just kind of indicate if you're hiring a student that has a bachelor's degree, you're going to probably pay more than a student that has an associate's degree.
Yeah, shit. If the student's not asking for more,
You're not
maybe you
paying
should have
more.
went to economics.
If you hire someone with an associate's degree, you're hiring someone that has more than high school diploma, right? What I do know is that a lot of the time it is not about like after you get past education, and I'm not promoting education, I'm not knocking education. It is about the people, right? What an education or a training program, be it for credit, non-credit, credit, what it does is it gives a young person terminology, it gives them an understanding of responsibility, scope, skills, and it allows them to work in the software packages that are common to the industry that they've been trained in. After that, it is all about that young person. And I have seen folks with an associate's degree go out and they are making 17 to 20 bucks an hour, right? So you're talking 34 to 40,000 a year, where they should be up in that $70,000 mark based off the responsibility that they have. What they're producing for that organization is equivalent to whatever a bachelor's degree graduate would have with a 2-year degree, because they're smart. The degree doesn't make them better or worse. It is just what they have. And so I think that a lot of organizations look at coming and hiring out of a 4-year program with an understanding, well, we're going to have to commit to this certain level. And I know the students talk about it. I mean, all the students, they talk about what the job offers are, and they know. And so if you do come look at a 4-year college graduate out of one of these programs, call the departments, have that conversation, say, hey, what is your average? And if it's not in your average, that's fine. But if you're competing in commercial construction in the south central part of the United States, you're probably hiring these people at $60,000 to $70,000 starting out.
Well, I mean, I feel stupid. And I mean that don't throw shade. It's like that wasn't an underhanded pitch for you to knock it out of the fucking park.
I hear your feelings and I reciprocate them.
No, I feel stupid because I thought, well, I'm going to go up there to the university, talk to somebody about job placement and stuff like that. And it's just going to be like, well, you have to fill out these 17 forms and you got to do this and that. And then when I got to know you and Ben, who's on our podcast about the camp, like, no, you guys literally have your doors open. It's like, no, it's kind of helpful to place our students in jobs. And you guys gave us a tour, showed us the facilities, allowed us to speak at different things to students. And I'm like, you guys aren't unique in that regard. Sorry, Ben.
Not special.
Like every single trade school and university is like this. I mean, you guys aren't like Harvard, Ivy League, where you're like, no, you need the secret password and you got to put on this robe and get spanked by some leather-bound wooden plank.
No, I mean, and so the best way, I mean, being in education, maybe it's an analogy that I've used and maybe it's completely wrong, right? But the idea in me is the students are the product that we're producing, right?
Yeah.
Like there are customers who want to make sure we give them quality for their educational dollar, but at the end of the day, we're working for the industry and the students are the product that we're putting out. If you were to have someone come to your organization and say, hey, I want to look at, foundation encapsulation, or I want to lift, or I want to do, show me your products. You're going to show them your products, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to make it as easy for them to get your product and be a happy customer as you can. It's the same thing. The difference is hopefully you're hiring the students and they're a good fit. And about 5 years down the road, they come back and they're hiring more.
All right, tradies, I know lead generation has been top of mind for all of us this last year and going into 2026. So let me put you onto a marketing team I actually trust, Greenbaum Steyer's Strategic Marketing Group. And oh yeah, they're friends and network affiliate of ours, but I'm telling you straight, these guys are different. Most marketing agents, they've never worn boots. They never dealt with seasonality, weird leads, price shoppers, no shows. Mrs. Johnson calling you back 3 times because her basement feels wet. Greenbaum Steyer's was literally born out of a successful foundation repair and waterproofing company like mine, so they actually understand how our businesses work. They've been doing this since 2017. They're a full service branding, websites. They convert with SEO, compounding over time, traditional media buying, and of course, lead generation that makes the phone ring. But the big thing is strategy. They're focused on helping you overcome what's holding you back, tighten up your systems, and hit real goals, profitable goals, and not just some vanity metrics and pretty reports that you can brag about at some conference. So if you're tired of guessing, tired of wasting money, and you want a team that knows contractors and knows how to drive results, go check out Greenbaum Steyer's Strategic Marketing Group. Tell them Will and Terry sent you. Their website's greenbaumsteyers.com. That's GreenbaumSteyers.com. I'll put it in the link. Keep grinding out there, tradies. Well, I even think of it as much as like, and I'm not in that world yet, but I'm going to get to that space where it's like I'm looking for young entrepreneurs to invest in. And I got to speak at an event with Ben, and I loved it because the room was packed. I thought I killed it. You've heard this story, haven't you? I was like, damn, a lot of people showed up. I was going to speak about entrepreneurship. And he was like, after it was all done, I'm kind of metaphorically patting myself on the shoulder. Ben was like, yeah, it was kind of Qdoba night. And the kids always show up for Qdoba. But that night, I met 8 students that their number one thing was not to like join a company. Yeah. They wanted to start a company. Yeah. And I'm like, this is bang up, dude. And I don't sense that. Like, I would argue that all day, that you mentioned it before about not making eye contact, things like that. Hell, I know grown ass adults that can't do that shit. And like all the students I've met, not only just our camp, the high school internships that go through our programs, OSU and OU, hell, even Appalachian State programs, like these, I hate to say them, kids are adults. They have interpersonal skills. Sometimes the things don't connect, like, oh, that didn't make sense, back to the don't call them dumbass disease. But have you had companies come to your programs and being like, hey, we're looking for people, and you're like, man, I wouldn't throw a student towards your program to save my life?
Oh, and you know, it's,
and why is that? Because I think people should know that. Like, if there's a glaring red flag.
For a couple reasons, like, and not with OU, but in my previous role, what I've seen, like, if you pick up our students for internships, right? When they come back, they're going to talk with us about what it was like, right? And it's not that we take everything that they're saying as the gospel, but when you start hearing the same comments from different students about employers that maybe their process wasn't good, or maybe they didn't treat them well, or X, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Anything that throws up that red flag, you're going to be like, oh, I mean, let's not have that, because, I mean, the truth be told, we want these students to go out and be successful. Just having a job is not the definition of being successful, right? We're trying to get them a career at this point. And so when an organization doesn't treat their student or their interns well, and it gets back to us, and we hear it multiple times, now we have a couple data sets that we're going off of, we're going to kind of understand. And maybe it's one person in your organization that doesn't like young people. It happens, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't. You need to examine that, because it's going to poison that well for you. And that's going to cost you a lot down the road. But,
well, now I know you're focusing heavily on the MEP side, which, for those that don't know, me included, MEP, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Yeah, there we go, bro. See, I'll listen.
You're around a lot of smart people. I'm glad it's rubbing off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Now let's move to the license trades. Obviously, you guys are pumping out kids that are going to be engineers and stuff like that, but
they're going to be managing the process.
Yeah. But tell me about the license trades.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what does that process look like? Because I'm sure there's guys out there who'll be like, man, it'd be great to just get an apprentice. But then again, if I could get somebody that's got hours stacked up, what's that looking like?
So it depends on your state, right? So I'm going to speak with Oklahoma, right? So becoming a licensed trade in the state of Oklahoma, there's a couple different pathways. Most often what it is starting out working under a licensed electrician, mechanical contractor, plumber, and having those hours recorded, right? And there's education, and there are recorded hours that are required. Now, there are certain schools, be it trade schools, be it 2-year institutions that you can go through, that shave off some of the hours. And I guarantee you, I'm going to throw out a number and someone's going to say I'm wrong, and then it's going to start. But last time I heard, I thought it was 2,000 hours of recorded hours.
Nice.
That you're working under a license. Someone's signing off on your work.
I've heard that same number.
Okay.
So we're both
So
gonna
we're
get-
both gonna get
we're-
going.
yeah, some keyboard warrior out there is gonna,
Fact check this.
yeah, here we go.
But the fact of the matter is, what it is it's the same thing as education, right? You are taking these young people, you're putting them through, and you're teaching them. And hopefully it's teaching them the right way to do something, right? And I think that's always important to understand that if you have my expectation, you with Vesta, if you have a young person who's coming on joining your crew, you're going to put them with the person who does the job right? If you have someone who doesn't do it right, you're not going to put them with that because they're going to learn those habits. And so, the fact of the matter is if you have, say you're running an organization, say you're running a home plumbing service, right? And you have someone that's just bang up on hot water replacements, right? You put that young person with that and you let them learn that process. And then you put them with the person who does the best underground work or what have you, so that they pick up the best skills from the first. If I had a young person right now and I knew that college was not what they wanted, right? And it's not that it wasn't an option, that it was just not of interest to them. Go into the trades. My God, go to the trades. I mean, most of the young people who are licensed that I know are making far more money than a college graduate coming out. And they're going to continue to make more money. Now, at some point, they need to transition from working physically to working mentally.
Yeah.
That's my big point.
Now, do you guys get involved much with the licensure boards?
Not to my understanding, not at OU's level. We did have some conversation at the 2-year college level.
Yeah, I figured that'd be the case. Your vocational colleges.
Right.
I mean, do you feel like they're going to start moving towards a merit-based system rather than an hourly system for licensed trades?
I don't know, because at some point, I mean, it's the same conversation. Like, we have young people come in and say, well, why do I need to take this class? I can take all your tests right now and pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, is it about them just knowing the knowledge and being able to produce it? Yes. I mean, that's the end goal, right? That they can pass the exam. You want them to make sure they have the knowledge so that they can pass those assessments. I don't know if we'll ever move to that point where they can just go in and take all the exams and be done. I think that would be nice. I don't know if the system will allow that, because there's so many parts of the system that I think are built along or built by an industry or a group of individuals that said, this is how I did it. This is how you have to do it.
Yep.
I mean, we see so many things. Like, we have students that go through architectural programs and they go through and they do studio, where it's basically they're trapped in front and they're drawing and they're weaving and they're doing all these different things that are, creating design aspirations in these young people. And it's the way it's been done for decades.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not working in the same decade. Like, technology's changed. Should we be changing with that technology? And I think we should.
Well, you got a magic wand. Let's say, how do you think it should be done now without pissing off any of the licensure people or the old cronies that have been doing it for 40 years?
Well, as long as they don't have my home address and where Will lives, I think we're okay.
Yeah.
But
hey, come find me, bro. I believe in a merit-based system all day.
yeah, I think the expectations on what a licensed trade professional should be able to do should be clearly spelled out. And if someone's able to come in and demonstrate those skill sets and do it not just once, but probably do it a few times, right? Then I think that we've got that bar. Now, what I will say, which will cause a lot of people to get pissed off,
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you are licensed, you should have some level of continuing education. Because
I would agree with that.
Because the fact of the matter is the technology that you're using today is different than the technology you used 5 years ago,
Mhm.
10 years ago. And any good tradesperson that I know keeps up with technology. They're always sharpening their skill set. I think that should be a requirement. And I think Oklahoma doesn't have a general contractor's license. I think we
Which
need
blows
one.
my mind.
I think it is.
I mean, coming from the East Coast, sorry, to all our Midwestern and middle Southern listening, South Central. Yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, even Virginia had 3 different classes of licenses. North Carolina, I remember my father taking the unlimited license. It was
And if I remember,
extensive.
Sydney passed the license in
Arkansas. Yeah.
Right? I mean, the fact of the matter is these are people, and at the end of the day, it's the same reason we have inspections. You are building something that is going to house someone, right? It's most likely the largest financial investment that most families are going to make.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to provide shelter for these people. You don't want it to fall down, and you want it to be a sound investment. So why not require just a little bit more of the people who are doing the work, and not everyone doing the work, but the boss. The boss needs to make sure they've demonstrated that skill set.
I even think like just in the last, call it 8 years, how much advancement we've seen just in things like drywall, exterior sheathing. I mean, fortified roofing systems. There's a lot of stuff that's changed. And it's like, if you're not doing CE hours on it, you don't know your ass from your elbow on it.
Well, it's the same. It's that same comment. Like you talk about what things are going to set people off behind the computer, right? Imagine saying that a 2x4 wall should not be allowed anymore, right? Maybe we should go bare minimum require a 2x6 or a double stud wall. Everyone's going to freak out, right? But we're building homes the same way.
Yeah.
For the most part, as we have built them for the past 40 or 60 years plus.
Now, for those that don't know, when we're talking about 2x4 walls, Terry lives in this wild ass barn dominium. So it's red iron.
It's like an igloo cooler.
Yeah,
like that.
It's pretty cool.
Ladies, running your small business can be demanding. You got suppliers you got to work with. You're managing crews. Hell, you're chasing sales. It's a lot to take in. Listen, if you want to grow your business, you got to stop working in it and you got to start working on it. So that's where my friends at Foundation Rescue Supply come in. You're not just getting foundation repair products and waterproofing products and air quality control products. With their nationwide distribution, you're getting a partner who knows how to help you scale. And that's why I use them. The Foundation Rescue Supply team has industry knowledge that'll help make your life easier. You get the tools, the trainings, the systems that you need to move the needle. You want your sales team to close more leads? Done, because they have the proven process for that. You need your crews to work smarter, not harder? Done. Their installation training will get you out there and rocking and rolling in the field. With Foundation Rescue Supply, you're not just buying materials here. You're buying a better business system that they have helped create. And you sell more, you install more, and you grow your team. So the bottom line is this: you get best industry pricing, you get field productivity on track, and you get more revenue out of everybody on your team. So this is your chance to step up, scale up, and thrive. If you are ready to make that happen, head to foundationrescuesupply.com, check out their catalog, and speak to my friends, their team, how you can take beyond the products with your company with Foundation Rescue Supply.
But no, Roger Wakefield was on our podcast way back in the day, plumber out of Texas. And it's funny, he tells the story openly. The guy that he trained under as an apprentice, he came into the office one day and the guy said, "Hey, you're taking your test." He's like, "I only have like 1,800 hours. He goes, "You know it. Take the test. I'll sign off on it." He took the test, passed it. Guy signed off on all these thousands of hours, which did not happen. And, Roger went up to be a master plumber, and that was a merit-based system. Obviously, what that guy did, if anybody wants to bitch about it, they can, but like he broke the rules, but he also said, like, it. I think that's the other thing about kind of the master license holder is like, is this person capable to represent me as the person signing off on it? And that guy did. Now, Roger didn't tell me if that guy was half drunk when he did it or not, but he's a big believer in merit-based systems.
Well, and I think that's part of, I truly think that's part of it. And you talk about the younger generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
The younger generation, like me and you went through a lot of things because we were told that's what you have to do, right?
Yep.
We've
always done it.
That's what we have to do. I'm going to go do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Younger generation's not like that. Like younger generation, my kids, your kids probably, you say, "Hey, well, that's just the way it is."
Yeah.
Why? Well, that's the way it is. Yeah, but why? If you don't have a legitimate reason to like say that, and say why it needs to be that way, they're going to question it.
Yeah.
I mean, in just today in class, we had this conversation, right? If you look at the technology that is being used in plumbing technology today for supply, water lines, and residential, right? The way the industry has moved, right? We moved away from copper and sweat and pipe, right? That even if you're using metal fittings, you now have a crimp connection.
Yep.
Why do you have a crimp connection? You have a crimp connection because it is faster. There's less chance it's going to fail. And if it does fail, who's it on? Most likely the manufacturer. And the skill required to do it is far, far less.
Yeah.
And that speaks to the skill set of the young people coming in, that there's just not enough of them. It's not that they can't do sweated copper, right?
Yeah.
It's the fact that there's not enough of them and they have to do 4 times as much work.
Yeah. Well, not to mention safer, I've kicked
don't
over
burn down the house.
I've kicked over a blowtorch on accident in a crawl space a few times. It's like, oh crap. Thank God that fiberglass insulation is pretty fire retardant. There's been a few times it was like, oh crap. But no, like on the MEP side, like we're seeing so many advances in those trades and the incomes included. I almost feel like you talked about an internship program. You need to create that program in your company. Is there an orientation process that you've seen to say, hey, in order to start accepting students, these are like the checklist items you need? Or do you guys have like introductory classes? Maybe we create one.
What, for the company or for the students?
No, for the company. Because there's some that it's like, well, a good example. We have to do working with minors checks and background checks for our Construct My Future programs.
Right.
It's not hard, but it's like, oh, and to be honest, like I learned something from that. I'm like, obviously you think, haha, Will, you're an idiot. Like, but there's some stuff in there that's like, oh no, you can't do that.
What I'm going to say to you people right now is what Will learned is that he's allowed to be around children. It's not that he came back and said he's not allowed to be around children. Will's allowed to
I
be
just
around
can't
children.
have them on my podcast drinking beer, right?
No, I think so. It's a little different. One, most of the students that we're dealing with are over 18. So there's a difference working with 18-year-old plus working with minors, right? But we do have programs that work with high school kids, and we do get them out to get them into the industry. To your point, we have sat down, myself, Ben, multiple times with companies, right? And my expectation is no matter where you're at, if you go to the 2-year college, 4-year college, or trade school, and you sit down with the people in charge of those programs and say, hey, I want to start an internship program, taking young people in, seeing if they're going to be a good fit, they are going to be responsive to you. They are going to help you set up and say, this is what we've seen has worked. This is what we have seen hasn't worked. They're going to do that. Now, is there something that you can just pull it off the shelf? My expectation is I guarantee you we can go on chat right now, have it created, and it's going to be 80% of the way there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and the fact is that's a zero cost meeting.
Right.
And it's just like, if you're starving and looking for people, it's like, wait a minute, you're going to bitch about not being able to find people for the workforce, but you want me to entertain a meeting with people that are pumping out qualified students or, adults in your respective field. This is just, anyway.
One thing I will say, and this has come up more times than not, even if you're hiring one intern, or maybe you're not even hiring an intern, right? You need to be at these career fairs. You need to be there and you need to engage with these young people for a few reasons. And my expectation is you'll agree with this. Well, you need to fly that flag, because just like you have a brand that you're pushing out to the customers out there and that you do marketing to, you have a brand that you're trying to market to these young people that should or will come work for you. And if they don't see you at career fairs and they don't see you involved in these programs, they're not going to know who you are. And it's the same thing, right? We go out and we buy the brand of beer, or we buy the brand of truck, or we buy a certain brand because of the reputation that we associate with it, right? If you're an organization and you're not involved in your local trade school 2-year, 4-year program, No one's going to know your reputation. And if they do, maybe the only thing they know is that.
By the way, that's the funny thing is like this concept of like, well, if I go to a career fair, why would somebody think like this is a good place to work? Hell, I've seen Rudy Construction kill it at these things. They do paving. Yeah. Like it's not sexy work, but their team is awesome. And actually, I think you would agree. Rudy Construction is probably one of the, what I would consider echelon level recruiters. Yep. They take second chance employee folks. They take internships. They've got internal development programs. And then I just look at them like, wow, dude, this company is on it.
Well, it's like at the last career fair, we had Lithgow Construction, right?
Mhm.
Concrete contractor here in Oklahoma City. And from what I understand, no matter what you do with Lithgow, right? When you start with them, you are out there in the field, you're putting work in place, right?
Even if you're going to be in the office.
Even if you're going to be in the office. And my expectation is during the career fair, what you're going to do is you talk to young people about that. You're going to see some of them go like, what? I got to do what? And you're going to be like,
I'm a
"Maybe not
graphic
the right hire."
designer.
And then at some point, you're going to get that kid. Oh, yeah, that's going to be great. And you'll be like, that's the kid I want.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Well, so by the way, where do you see this relationship in the workforce going in the next 10 years? Because you've been at this, you've been placing people for a while, Terry.
I'm coming up on 2 decades.
2 decades.
God, you know how old I feel at that point?
I know. And you're only 31.
Yeah, we're going to go with that.
But I mean, obviously there's online forums and things like that. People can post jobs and stuff, but like you went through COVID too, which
Yeah.
was a train wreck.
Yeah, it was.
It was a train wreck for everybody, including in construction, even though if you didn't make money during COVID as a contractor, like you had other problems going on. But I mean, where do you see the evolution with all this shakeup going?
What, recruitment?
Yeah. Specifically, even placement of kids in your program and then exiting them out.
So, I mean, for kids coming out of programs, what I'll tell all organizations out there is still reputation, right? And just like reputation and getting those jobs, you're going to have your reputation in getting young hires. If you think that these folks that are on internships don't talk about it, they're going to talk about it as soon as they get home. I think that what you see and what you'll continue to see, especially in areas where it is personal communication associated, like when you're going into college educated or college programs where you're picking up folks. When you return that intern to their college, right? What you need to make sure is that they have a backpack that has your company's logo on it, right? They have a hat and they have a jacket. And you like that last
And
day,
then like some NASCAR driver, bro.
yeah, I mean, you give them the swag, right?
Swag is a love language in construction.
Yeah,
man.
because the fact of the matter is it does 2 things. One, it gives these young people the ability to show, hey, this is what I did, and this is who I did it with. And then 2, it gets your brand out there. I mean, I know any good business person out there understands that brand recognition, right? What is it? You want to be 5 Mile famous? Well, you have this person walking around all these other potential people that could come work for you.
Mhm.
And they got a nice backpack, right? And they got a nice jacket,
Mhm.
and it all has your branding on it, as long as it's a good person. Now you get that person who's an idiot, right? Like
Mhm.
no one brands will. No one wants that brand associated.
Not me, bro. By the way, funny story about branding. Love you, Dad.
Here's
Here's a story. My dad had a residential and commercial steel framing division of his company back in the 90s. And he called it Blake. He had Blake Enterprises. And he made these shirts that said Blake Enterprises Steel Erectors. You know, that's a common term used in that. Us fucking kids in high school thought that was hysterical. We go to school with these steel erector shirts, and like our friends were like, how much for one of your steel erector shirts? There was more Blake Enterprises steel erector shirt in Watauga High School back in the 90s. It's so funny shit. Like, talk about branding, 5 Mile famous, all these. Oh, these people were like, "Who the fuck is Blake Enterprise?"
Well, I mean,
All because, well, and we had Foster and Gear on. Obviously,
yeah.
they're steel erectors, right?
Right.
But you got to love the high school kid humor of it.
well, it's like, yeah, I mean, you look here, right? Cohen Construction, right? It is something that,
Yeah. By
They
the
get
way,
their
our
brand.
koozies are all made from construction companies and people that have been on our podcast. So
yeah, they're not paying for the beer inside of it. Again,
Yeah.
we're shameless at this point in time. But I mean, the fact of the matter is the way that you approach marketing out to your potential clients, you should have the same mentality if you want to get the top talent, right?
Yep. I say this too. Recruiting is just as much a marketing gear in a company. It's crazy. So
Have you seen that, Will? Have you seen organizations that maybe they're not large enough to have their own specialized recruiting office,
Mhm.
but the marketing people are the ones that handle it?
yeah, and I think it also starts with the owner. Like they are the chief talent officer. And if they naturally have just a negative disposition about people, they're going to be filled with just negative people in their organization. And I genuinely love human beings. I'm a social creature, but that doesn't mean I'm going to hire everybody that comes in my door. But even if I'm not going to hire somebody, I'm still going to give them a tour of my building because they're, like you said, they're going to leave and talk about their experience. Which in your case, if somebody had a bad experience at XYZ company, anybody else coming up on deck in their social circles are going to be like, well, I'm going to stay away from XYZ company because they heard about the folks at Rudy, J.E. Dunn, AC Owens, these companies that have laid out the red carpet. And this is what's wild about this. Owners, and I'm speaking specifically to home services, they will roll out the freaking red carpet for customers to get them to buy, and they won't do the same thing for their employees.
Now, I want to ask you one thing right now. The best employee that you guys have had, do they make you a lot of money?
Well, yes, I am the best employee.
No.
Obviously.
I mean, actually, people that work for
absolutely. And then multiply that by 80 because we got like 80 employees now.
right.
And not everybody's perfect. Man, and you get
Right. There's a difference between your top performer and the not, right?
yeah.
And if you could have nothing but top performers, you'd either A, need less people, or B, you'd just be able to knock more jobs out of the park, right?
Yeah, and we have a saying in Vesta, like, does this person bleed green? Like, that's like, they believe in what we're trying to accomplish. Back to what you mentioned before, people get touchy-feely about this. They want to belong and want to know that what you're doing actually has value and purpose too. And I think that's probably one thing we haven't talked enough about, but I could have a whole other episode. If you don't have a vision and purpose for your company, you're talking about chat, like pump that in because man, like I'm not in the sexiest business either. We dig in the dirt and crawl under houses, but dude, we love it. Our employees love it. We make a difference. And then they're like, yeah, that's what I do for a living. But anyway, Terry, this has been fun, bro.
No, it has.
No script today, just like two buddies drinking.
It will be interesting if you guys can understand. They definitely did have a script.
Yeah. Now, hold on. You are reworking 3 separate properties, commercial properties in Guthrie right now?
2 commercial, 1 residential.
Okay. So are you taking on interns? Or is there too much asbestos and lead paint?
No, most of that's gone. No, it's that whole liability thing. But no, if we call it a volunteer opportunity,
There we
right?
go. Yeah.
Now it's education with sweat equity.
Well, paid for in beer, right? Well, anyway, guys, thanks for listening to another episode of Beers with Contractors. Terry and I will be back and see you guys next week. See ya.
Bye.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Beers with Contractors. We hope you enjoyed our chat as much as we did. Before we say our final goodbyes, a friendly reminder. Beers with Contractors encourages responsible drinking. If you choose to enjoy a beverage during our time together, please do so in moderation and only if you're of legal drinking age in your country or state. Furthermore, the advice and insights shared in this podcast are for informational purposes only. Always consult with professionals and experts in your field, and be sure to follow local laws and regulations regarding licensing and permits. We're here to help, entertain, and inspire, but your safety and compliance are important. So, as you head out into the world of construction and contracting, remember to build responsibly and make decisions that stand the test of time. Thanks for joining us today. We'll catch you on the next episode of Beers with Contractors. Until then, cheers to your success.